Well, the reason we're here today is we want to hear from Nan Backus, who she and I have had 3 conversations in the course of about 15 minutes. None of them have to do with the topic she's here to talk about tonight. So, I don't know if that means she's that widely diverse or we get our attention diverted that easily. I don't know which it is. But many of you may know Nan because she operates the Natural Health and Home health food store. It says here, before opening her health food store and vitamin center in Hillsboro in 2006, Nan served customers at several of the oldest and most successful health food stores in the St. Louis and Warrensburg areas. She also completed classes in nutrition, herbal studies, and naturopathy. Am I saying that anyway? Say it again. Naturopathy. Okay, that's a new one on me. As well as her clinical internship. After a 30-year teaching career and being actively involved in community services at her local church, Nan now enjoys being close to her rural home in Hillsboro, her own personal wildlife preserve, where she lives with her 5 cats, 1 dog, and a menagerie of wild critters. Her words, so not mine. She also enjoys organic gardening and harvesting wild herbs, nuts, and fruits. So without any further ado, if you'll welcome Nan Backus.
Thank you.
Have fun.
Well, because of my prior teaching life, I like to be on the other side of the mic. I appreciate the opportunity to come and speak with you today, and I really appreciate the excellent weather you all arranged. Thank you. I would much rather be out prowling in the woods at this time, but I also enjoy being in here and sharing some of my experiences and knowledge with you in natural health. Gosh, this is a big classroom. I taught English for 30 years. Classes were limited to 25. All right, naturopathy. I'm not going to talk about that, but since the president said I'm not sure what that is, I'll explain. Because I work very closely with a naturopathic doctor at my shop. She does not work for me, but we work together. Naturopathy is the study of health from a natural perspective. When we go to a medical doctor, we kind of lay ourselves on their altar and say, I'm broken, fix me. In naturopathy, we go to the doctor and say, I'm seeking knowledge. I want to be responsible for my own health. Naturopaths use nutrition, herbs, and a number of other methods, but all non-invasive, all natural, to bring the body's organs and systems back into their natural balance, or as close as we can, and affect results. So as a quick example, this happens to be a friend of mine, 62-year-old gentleman, bachelor. His idea of cooking in the past has been throwing a frozen pizza into the microwave, and his idea of vegetable pizza was throwing a can of spinach on top. Right? And his medical doctor in the last couple of years informed him that he had diabetes and high cholesterol and that he needed to be on medication. Now, I did not know that he was on these meds. And when he told me a couple of months ago, he got a chewing. And I said, I can't tell my customers to do this because it wouldn't be ethical, but I said, you're a friend of mine, and I'm going to tell you, you throw those things far away as you can and never let those 2 things cross your mouth again. Because the one medication that you're taking for diabetes will, in effect, destroy your pancreas in about 2 years, and the other medication is going to destroy your liver. Throw them away. And he obediently did. And I am very pleased to report that we've got him on a fine program. His body is responding beautifully. In fact, we're going to, he's coming for his next checkup today with our naturopath, Dr. Angie Chaudois. And I checked with him yesterday, and he says, well, I've got great news. My blood sugar levels are really low. And I said, whoa, they're getting a little too low. we need to get you off of some of those natural products we have you on, because with the change of diet, he's doing extremely well. Now, you don't have to take my word for it. He went to see his medical doctor only 2 weeks after he had been off of the meds, the prescription meds, and on the program that we had developed for him. And his medical doctor was really impressed. He said, your blood sugar levels and your cholesterol levels are in the perfect range. Let's review your medications. And he said, I threw them away. And the doctor nearly had a heart attack. So you can't throw your medicine away. You have diabetes and high cholesterol. And he says, how long have you been off your meds? And he showed him on the calendar. And the doctor scratched his head. He said, well, my goodness, what are you doing that you're maintaining such terrific blood sugar and cholesterol levels? He said, well, I decided to eat green, for one thing. And he explained what he meant to the doctor. And the doctor said, well, I wish more of my patients would do exactly what you're doing, because then they could get off of their medications too. Keep doing what you're doing. So that's one story recently that we're really happy to report. I'm not here to just talk about naturopathy today, though. Our topic is on natural approaches to memory and brain function. And I am not going to get scientific about this. These are very practical things that we can all do on a day-to-day basis. And a lot of them are free. That's even better, right? To enhance our brain function and memory. I've got a handout, being a teacher, right? And the very first thing I'm going to do is read the disclaimer. It's kind of like reading your syllabus to the class the first day, so that you know where we're going and what we can and can't do. I am not a medical doctor. I'm not even a naturopathic doctor at this point. I'm an herbalist and a nutritionist. But I feel obligated to read a disclaimer to make sure that we're all on the same page. Nothing in this informational handout or this class is meant to diagnose, treat, cure, or otherwise medically advise. Information is for interested individuals' considerations as they explore options to make their personal decisions. Readers must take personal responsibility for their own health concerns and choices based on a wide variety of sources and information. Check with your healthcare professional before beginning any supplements or dietary changes. Now, that healthcare professional might be a medical doctor or might be a naturopath or a chiropractor. The information below is based on customers' testimonies and experiences, as well as information gleaned from books and other sources listed on the last page of the handout. So let's begin. And I was going to have you do a little exercise, but since your tummies are full, I think we'll read about it and you can do it later, because it's going to be really hard to do deep breathing with a full tummy. All right? Our brains need lots of oxygen in order to function properly. Most of us don't really breathe using our full lung capacity. We pant like dogs. We're always in a rush to get from point A to point B. And we need to take some time to deep breathe. When you first get up in the morning and you stretch, take a deep breath, fill the top and the bottoms of your lungs. Hold it for a few seconds and then breathe out through your mouth. Not only will you begin oxygenating your whole body, but you also start eliminating toxins. We can eliminate several pounds of toxins every day just by breathing deeply. So the exercise that you can do later when your tummies aren't so full, and you can do this with a partner or you can do it by yourself, is put your hand on your tummy and take a breath and see where you're breathing. Are you breathing up here? Probably shouldn't have just touched that mic. Or are you breathing down here? And what you want to do is practice breathing so that not only are your shoulders and the upper part of your body going up and down and in and out, but also down below. So do that little test when you have not such a full tummy and see what happens. And then you might also use a little conditioning on yourselves to remind yourselves, like every time the phone rings, do some deep breathing. Every time you turn on the television, or every time you turn on your computer. you're going to do some deep breathing. Now, for those of you who just turn on the computer and leave it on forever and ever and ever, that won't work. All right? You'll have to use some other thing that you do frequently throughout the day so that you can remember to breathe and kind of program yourself to do that. All right? Now, for those of you who may not be so quick on that, there are some supplements that you can use, including herbs like alfalfa, that help to oxygenate your body. So for those of you who don't want to breathe, breathe deeply, there are some products that can be used to help oxygenate the body. And you know, on a day like today, it's really hard not to go outside and just take some really deep breaths and get all that blood going and oxygenate your whole body. Next thing is hydrate. Water, water, water. There's been a number of books published about our body's need for water. In fact, that's a title of a book. Our body's many cries for water. Hydrate or die. Right? Alkalize or die is the name of another book. And you know how you alkalize? One of the things you do? You drink water. That helps to alkalize your body. If your body is acid, guess what happens? It sets you up for a number of conditions. Everything from arthritis to compromised immunity to acid reflux, because our stomachs need water in order to make hydrochloric acid to digest your food properly. And if you're acid, it also is a contributing factor to heart attacks. Now, if any of you are nursing staff, go back to your ER rotations. When you have a cardiac arrest patient, what's one of the first things you do? And I will spare you the gross stuff. I used to work emergency room too. I've had many lives. My students many times called me a walking internet. In the ER, if you've had heart attack, one of the first things they do is run an IV with sterile sodium bicarbonate, because they know at the time of a heart attack, your body is extremely acid. And if they don't alkalize your body, muscle tissue will be damaged. Water is one of the ways we alkalize our bodies. In addition to the fact, our brains need lots of water. If you start getting a little foggy-headed, probably you haven't had enough to drink. Water. Distilled water. And that may come as a surprise to some of you, especially out here in the country, right? A lot of us have wells, and that's supposed to be some of the best water. Unfortunately, most well water, unless you find a good method of filtering some of the minerals out, our bodies were not designed to digest rocks. All right? Inorganic minerals are not digested by our bodies. We have to have organic minerals. That means it's got to come from plant sources. When we drink well water or other forms of water that are not distilled water, we add to these inorganic minerals in our body. They can get lodged in our kidneys. They can contribute to a number of other health conditions. Distilled water, maybe going through a gallon or two a month is all you need. Although I drink distilled water several times a week, I go through probably 2 gallons a week. It's also called hungry water, and the reason it's called hungry water is because it's pure water and it will latch on to any kind of toxins like those inorganic minerals and flush them out of the body. So our suggestion usually is to our customers and Dr. Angie's patients, get a couple of gallons of distilled water and drink them to help flush the toxins out of the body and more perfectly hydrate the body. Now, people always ask, well, how much water should I be drinking? The standard that's used right now is half your body weight in ounces. So if you're little like me and weigh about 100 pounds, I can get off the hook pretty easy with 50 ounces of water a day. Now, I try to drink more than that. I don't always succeed. Sometimes I get busy and the water bottle is stuck over there on the desk and I don't go for it. But in my mind, I'm trying to remember to hydrate better every day. Now, there's a little test you can do right now. It doesn't bother your tummy, all right? And I can't do it because I've got my hands full. But if you put one hand up and pinch the skin on the top of your hand, and then let it go and see how fast it goes back down to where it should be. The longer it takes, the more water you need to take in. And it takes approximately 72 hours to rehydrate your body at the cellular level if you're drinking the proper amount of water. That's a nice little test you can do. And right now, I bet mine wouldn't go down very fast because I didn't drink enough yesterday. Now here's a little scary thing too. If you're drinking soda of any kind, carbonated drinks, or if you're drinking other things that aren't really that healthy for you, like stuff with artificial sweeteners in it, you have to flush those toxins out, grab your bottle of distilled water, and you will have to drink almost twice the amount of water you would normally have to drink to flush those toxins out. So every time you drink a glass or a bottle of soda, grab your distilled water and flush out the toxins. Get your body back into balance. This is going to help your brain function. And while we're talking about artificial sweeteners, be careful of those. Not only are many of them carcinogenic, that means they contribute to potential cancers around the body. They also interfere with brain function. And for those of you who have either children or grandchildren or great-grandchildren, these are also excitotoxins. If those children are inclined at all to have ADD, ADHD, or autism, the excitotoxins make things much worse. So in your attempt to refrain from giving them sugar and giving them artificial sweeteners, you're actually making things worse. But that's another topic. We're having a lot of success, by the way, with autistic children by changing their diets, changing the pH of their bodies. Again, that's a whole nother topic, but it works very well. All right, increase, number 3 on our page, increase specific nutrient intake. B vitamins are very important for our whole nervous system. And our brain sits at the top of our nervous system, right? Make sure you're getting B vitamins. We get B vitamins from whole grains, raw nuts and seeds, and some lean meats. If you're not eating a healthy diet that includes raw nuts, whole grains, and lean meats, then you probably want to supplement. And we usually tell people the best way to supplement, if it's at all possible, is not with a pharmaceutical grade vitamin, but instead with a food and herb-based vitamin. That way you know that the nutrients you're getting are from food, that your body recognizes those nutrients, and they know what your body knows what to do with it. So B vitamins is right on top of the list. Omega oils. We hear about it, a lot of this in the news. Omega oils are very important. You want to get the purest ones that you can, of course. I should have brought a cup. Some of the omega oils now, the cheaper brands, they are being processed. They want to separate the glycerides, all right? The 3, 6, and 9s. They want to separate those down. In order to do that, they're using ethanol. Right? Now, we did a little experiment over at the shop a while back. We opened up a capsule of inexpensive omega oils, put it in a styrofoam cup, and there's enough ethanol residue in it that it melted the cup. I have half a cup left, which I keep on hand to show people, right? So I'm not going to talk about product names here, but wherever you shop for your supplements, inquire as to the quality of them and do your research to see. I know you're going to pay a little bit more for the better quality ones, but my goodness, it's your body and your health. And if you really want to get healthy, you want to use the best quality products that you can. And of course, for foods, get some good quality high omega oil fish, like salmon, And it's okay if it comes out of a can. Just try to get the low sodium ones. Fresh is always best. Avoid the farm-raised ones. Go for wild. And I always like to make sure it's American. I got some that was shipped in from another country once, and not only did I not like the smell and color of it, my cats wouldn't eat it. And I thought, well, if those little stinkers won't eat fish, then there's got to be something wrong with it. So I stick to American and wild fish, not farm-raised. I have a note here about Alzheimer's and ADD, or individuals on that autism spectrum. I talked to a nutritionist a few years ago from, I think, Colorado. And her mother was in her late 70s, early 80s, and the last time she'd gotten a checkup from her medical doctor, he told her, you know, your mom's starting to get a little bit of Alzheimer's going. We need to keep our eyes on this. Well, being a nutritionist and working in the natural field, she says, well, I know what to do about that. I'll just get her on some good omega oils. And the next time they went to the medical doctor and she got a checkup, the doctor said, I don't see any evidence of Alzheimer's. Now, whether it was misdiagnosed in the first place, I don't know, but her memory did come back and she was quite sharp. One of the things we do with children, especially, we see more children, parents, grandparents coming in with children with ADD, ADHD, and autism. And one of the first things we want to do is feed their brains with omega oils. Now, do omega oils have to come from fish? No. They can come from flaxseed. They can come from krill. They can come from borage, which is an herb. Sea buckthorn, which is not from the ocean, all right? It's CEA, or SEA, sea buckthorn. It's actually a plant, and it doesn't grow anywhere around the ocean. I don't know how it got its name, but sea buckthorn is also a good source of omega oils. So omega oils are very good. The oils you want to avoid, like throw them away as far as you can, is anything hydrogenated or partially hydrogenated. A few years back, it's actually probably been at least 20 or more years, an independent company out in California did a study on all these old hippies and flower children, because California is full of them, and they've been vegetarian and vegan for a long time, and so they didn't want to eat butter and have cheese and things like that. And instead they used margarine, which is hydrogenated or partially hydrogenated, and they used shortening when they wanted to fry or saute a little something. Well, guess what? Those vegetarians and vegans who had been eating those hydrogenated and partially hydrogenated oils were having heart attacks as a result of clogged arteries at the same rate the meat eaters were. And they concluded in this study that it had nothing to do with meat. It had everything to do, the common thread for all of them was that they had eaten hydrogenated oils, whether they cooked with them at home or whether they had eaten products they had purchased that had hydrogenated or partially hydrogenated oils in them. I read labels. I've been reading labels since the 1970s when I first started training as a nutritional consultant. I avoid anything with hydrogenated and partially hydrogenated oils. They clog your arteries, and then you've got to eat tons of garlic and have cayenne pepper to try and undo the damage. Do you know how long it takes the average person to get rid of one serving of hydrogenated or partially hydrogenated oil? 30 days. Let's say you go down to the local fast food joint and eat at least once a week. That's 4 servings of hydrogenated oils. You'd have to go without eating those hydrogenated oils for a few months to get that month's worth. Say you eat there once a week for a month, all right? You've got to have 4 months to undo that damage. I just avoid it completely. Then I don't have to undo the damage. The damage isn't there. And I eat plenty of garlic and have plenty of cayenne pepper to keep my cardiovascular system running good anyway. Or at least I hope I'm eating enough. Let's see. I think we've caffeine. I wanted to talk a little about caffeine too. Caffeine can block the absorption of a lot of nutrients. We talked about B vitamins. B vitamins are some of the nutrients that are blocked by caffeine. So if you take your multivitamins with caffeine, with a cup of coffee, you just wasted your money on your vitamins, right? It's not going to do you any good. So skip the coffee or even tea. It's got caffeine in it. Now if you've got herbal teas, non-caffeinated herbal teas, you can take your vitamins with that, but not with coffee or with black or green tea. It just cancels out your nutrient intake. All right? Magnesium. Oh, magnesium. Our best friend. Look at the list of things that happens if you're low in magnesium. Low energy, fatigue, weakness, PMS, hormone imbalances, inability to sleep, weakened bones, muscle tension, spasms, cramps, abnormal heart rhythms, headaches, anxiousness, nervousness, irritability, constipation, and the list goes on. Just because you're low in magnesium. Where do we get magnesium? Raw nuts and seeds, whole grains, right? We need to consume raw nuts and seeds and whole grains every single day. And if you have problems because you've been deficient for a long time, we can supplement with it. I use a little bit of dolomite or some other forms of magnesium, not every single day, but especially on those days or weeks that get really stressful because there's so much going on. You know, I run a store, I do all the ordering, I speak publicly, I'm active in my church, I'm doing CERT classes. It's one of the topics we were just talking about. Community Emergency Response Team, all right? So I got a lot on my plate. Plus my mom's 88 years old, she lives by herself, she doesn't drive, so I gotta drive into the city. We all know that kind of stuff. We got busy lives, right? We're busy, and that demands more nutrients. So I use some supplements, and magnesium is usually one of them. Other sources of magnesium, Celtic salt. In fact, I brought a book along. This was written by he's a medical doctor, David Brownstein, and the title of it is Salt Your Way to Health. In France, they're using Celtic salt baths to help reverse Alzheimer's. They're also using a sterilized form of it, or very pure form of it, intravenously to flush out cancers. Raw, natural Celtic salt or Himalayan pink salt are our friends. Celtic salt is extremely high in magnesium. The first day we got a shipment of this Celtic salt in at the shop, it's been a couple of years ago already, we all dipped our fingers in the little sample packets they sent us and tasted it. And we went, wow, that's pretty good salt. That tastes different. And about an hour later, we were all turning into puddles. We were so relaxed. Well, one of the things magnesium does is relax you. And we're all walking around kind of going, wow, I'm really ready for a nap. This is so unusual. And we looked at each other and said, how come we're all so sleepy? And I went, wait a minute, what's in that magnesium? And I got the salt book out, or what's in the salt? And we looked it up, it's high magnesium. I said, well, that's why we all want to turn into a puddle right now. So Celtic salt is one of the things you can use to up your magnesium. And if you have high blood pressure, I could do a whole class on blood pressure. Don't be afraid of Celtic sea salt. Because it's naturally balanced with minerals, it will help lower high cholesterol levels. Isn't that amazing? It helps bring our blood pressure back into balance. If it's low, it elevates it. If it's high, it lowers it. And in another presentation, I'll explain how that works. You'll have to take my word for it or read a book about it. All right, let's see. Selenium and vitamin E, both high antioxidants, but our brains need them to function properly and help with memory. And lecithin. Oh, we're all so afraid of eating eggs, right? It's got cholesterol in it. Well, guess what? Eggs are still a really good food for us. When God made eggs, he put a little cholesterol in them, but he also put lecithin in them, which emulsifies fats. So it balances it out. Don't be so afraid of eggs. Now, I'm not advocating you eat 6 eggs a day for the rest of your life. Variety is good, all right? Soy has lecithin, eggs have lecithin, sunflower seeds have lecithin. There's lots of sources of lecithin. Lecithin helps feed our brain. Our brains need carbohydrates, oxygen, water, and fats to function properly. So lecithin is good. The next thing, I own a health food store. Gosh, I haven't talked about herbs much yet, right? Rhodiola, now that's a Russian root herb. It's classified as an adaptogenic herb. It helps our bodies adapt to stress levels. When we're de-stressed, guess what? Our brains function better. So does our heart, so does our immune system. So rhodiola is one of those things that help us balance our bodies, and it helps with brain function. Holy basil, another adaptogenic herb. Cayenne pepper, cayenne pepper, that's another one herb we could do a whole hour class on. It's good for the circulatory system, so you're getting food and oxygen and fluids up to your brain. Do you know you can stop a heart attack in as little as 6 seconds with cayenne pepper? It's been done more than once. Dr. John Christopher said he never lost a cardiac patient. He was a naturopathic doctor. He said he never lost a cardiac patient from a heart attack. As soon as they had symptoms, he gave them a cup of hot water with cayenne pepper in it. They drank it. End of heart attack. It works faster than nitroglycerin. You want to stop bleeding on an exposed wound, topical wound? Cayenne pepper. Disinfects it, speeds healing. All right. Cayenne pepper is awesome for the circulatory system. If you take it internally, whether you sprinkle it on food, drink it as a part of a drink, you want a waker-upper that's healthy instead of coffee in the morning? Have a cup of warm water with lemon and cayenne pepper and a tad bit of maple syrup in it. Oh, that wakes you up. It wakes up every part of your body. It gets your stomach ready to digest food. It wakes up your brain, wakes up your heart and circulatory system. That is excellent herb. I've got that in my first aid kit. Dr. Angie has one heck of a good story about cayenne pepper. She was out with her husband and kids cutting down trees. They live out in the country too. And her husband had the chainsaw and it slipped, gashed his leg open. She sprinkled cayenne pepper all over it. He passed out, partly because of blood loss and partly because of the pain, but when the ambulance got there, the ambulance drivers looked at his leg and said, "What is on this man's leg?" She goes, "Cayenne pepper, it stops bleeding." And they said, "Well, we don't know anything about that, but you saved your husband's life." And it healed beautifully. Right? Cayenne pepper is our friend. Don't be afraid to use it liberally. Ginkgo biloba and gotu kola, both excellent herbs. However, if you are on certain medications to thin your blood, you probably want to be careful and not use those on a regular basis. If you're on medication and one of your goals is to try to get off or to lower the dosages, come talk to us. We have books, reference books and things that help guide through that. Now I've got something we can do related to herbs, essential oils. I've got 2 bottles, and what I want you to do, one's lavender and one's peppermint. And I'm going to ask for a helper. Would you like to be my helper?
Sure.
Would you hold out your hand? I'm going to put 1 drop, and you might have to shake it a little bit. 1 little drop. Now rub your hands together. 1, 2, 3. Cup your hands over your nose and inhale. Woo! That'll wake you up. All right. Now you can drink peppermint tea, or you can put 1 drop. Now what you might want to do, yeah, it was a little drop too. It wasn't a big drop. Rub that on the back of your neck. You can put it on your forehead. pass this bottle around, and I've got another one I'm going to start. This is lavender. This is a little more relaxing, but it's also very good. I can't open that. I'll let you do that. Do the same thing with it. Put 1 drop on your hand, rub it. 1, 2, 3. Cup your hands over your nose, and oh, it's wonderful to wake up your brain and get you all moving. Just don't put it in your eyes. It is an oil, right? Now you can also use those for facials. It helps with tired eyes after you've been on the computer or grading papers for hours on end. Take a bowl of water, large bowl, put a drop of either lavender or peppermint or rosemary in the bottom of that bowl, like a big mixing bowl or a big salad bowl. Pour steaming hot water into it. Take a towel, put it over your head. Inhale those fumes. It's a facial. It's good for your eyes. It wakes up your brain. If you've got clogged sinuses, it wakes up your sinuses, opens them up. All right. All right, just in case you were getting bored with the presentation, now you're awake again. See, I've got your attention. All right. So now you can drink those herbs, you can take them in capsule form, or you can use some of them in oil form. And when the peppermint oil gets over here at the end of the table, please pass it over to the next table here to my left, okay? You can use it for everything. The peppermint oil is also good if you have sore muscles or arthritic pain. I would add a little bit of cayenne pepper oil to that peppermint and use it for arthritis. Now the oils I'm passing around are not classified as therapeutic grade oils. Therapeutic grade oils can be taken internally. All right, if they're not therapeutic grade, you can use them externally or you can diffuse them. I carry both non-therapeutic and therapeutic at the shop. I have a list on my page 3, I'm not sure where it printed on yours, about other essential oils that you can use. Frankincense is one of my favorites. Myrrh, blue cypress. Cypress is good for the circulatory system. When my mom was having a little irregular heartbeat, we advised her to put some on some points on her hands and feet. And thank you. I'm going to pass this one over here. And that cypress can help with the circulatory system. You can also put it over your heart. All right, let's start wrapping some of this up. Step 5, laugh, meditate, take a nap, get a hobby, take a walk in nature, exercise, listen to or sing along to quiet music, or if you need someone to pep you up, put a little swing on, right? Then you can dance, sing, and just get everything moving all at once. My favorite, I like to do a lot of things, exercise. One of my favorites is ballroom dancing, swing dancing, and Latin dancing, and I'm heading to Casa Loma tonight with my dance partner. I haven't been out to Casa Loma in a while, and boy, I'm looking forward to it. I got my dress and my dance shoes in the car. The other thing, and I don't have it listed on that, I neglected to put it on. I must have been getting sleepy and needed a little bit of peppermint or something to perk me up. Dry brushing. This looks like a big hairbrush, right? It's got a long handle on it. 15 minutes of dry brushing on your skin. Start at your feet, work your way up toward your heart. It's got a long handle on it to reach your back too. Do everything. As Dr. Angie said, ladies, even do the girls. All right? And this is my brush, so I like to brush. I'm like my cats, like. All right, you don't have to do your face with this, and you don't have to brush hard. This increases in the circulation. 15 minutes of dry brushing a day is like running a couple of miles as far as circulation. It really brings the blood to the surface. And it exfoliates your skin. So you're doing 2 things at once. You can't exfoliate while you're running, I guess, unless you're running on the beach and the sand's kicking up at you. Chiropractic. I love my chiropractors. All right. Chiropractic is good. If you've got any sort of bones, whether they're in your skull, whether it's your spine, your cervicals, all the way down, it's all connected. If you keep a good separation between those vertebrae, and you've got all this stuff in your head, all your parts of your skull there in place, oh, it really helps with brain function. My mom, as I said, is 88. She's got a chiropractor that makes house calls. That lady is on no medication. She's on a few herbs. All right? I want to talk about one other thing that I did not put on this sheet. I don't know why I didn't think of it when I was typing those up a few weeks ago, but I didn't. And that's thyroid function. A lot of times in the United States, especially here in the Midwest where we don't have a lot of seafood. All right, we see food, but I'm talking about SEA food, seafood, all right, that has iodine in it. We have slow-functioning thyroids. And ladies, just because we're women, we need more iodine at certain times of our lives. We get it through kelp. We get it through watercress and a few other herbs. If you're really deficient, you use nascent iodine. It goes right into your bloodstream. You take it orally, but it bypasses the gut. It goes right into your bloodstream. You'll be amazed at how much better you'll feel if your thyroid is functioning at a higher level. And your metabolism will increase as well. Now there's a very simple test that you can do at home to check your thyroid. And I know some of you say, well, I went to the doctor and he did my blood work and he says it's okay. Unfortunately, what I've discovered from personal experience, last time I had blood work done, which has been a few years, the doctor says, oh, you're fine, your thyroid's fine. I'm going, well, I got all the symptoms of a slow-functioning thyroid. Not severe, but it's slow. So I did a little test. You get a little bottle of iodine. It's about $2 or $3 an ounce, like you'd use in your first aid kit. You rub it on the inside of your wrist. It stains your skin. And it should stay stained for a few days if you don't need the iodine. If your body is deficient in iodine, if your thyroid needs to be fed, that will fade. I have had customers call me and tell me within an hour that was completely gone. And we're starting to see more and more men with slow-functioning thyroids. They do the test, oh my goodness, 1 and 2 hours, it's gone or significantly faded. Feed that thyroid with the herbs, the food it needs. Now some of you say, well, we have iodized salt. There's two problems. The iodine that they use in salt is not the right kind of iodine to really feed your thyroid. The other thing is most people today are concerned about high blood pressure, so they're not eating salt anyway. And the salt we do eat is high sodium, which is why we don't want to eat regular table salt. So we're really deficient. When we're deficient in mineral salts, like Celtic or Himalayan salt, which is a balanced natural salt, we deprive our brains of the minerals they need. We also can throw our electrolytes out of whack. Again, we get back to salt and some of the other foods we need to feed the thyroid. I have a list of resources. On the very bottom, there's 2 things that I'm not going to go into detail about, but I'm going to bring them to your attention. One is educational kinesiology, that is, doing certain movements to balance the left and right sides of the brain. Paul Dennison was the founder of educational kinesiology. He's got a number of books and a great website. It's also, he's got books out for, it's called Educate for Kids. And there's also educational kinesiology for business. So after you've used a computer, you want to do some little figure eights and some cross crawls and a few other things. The other one is the Mozart effect. If you don't remember about hearing that back in the 80s, listening to certain types of music can enhance brain function. And get on the website for the Mozart effect. It's a fabulous source of information. I'm not sure how we're doing on time. Does anybody have any questions real quickly?
Over here.
Question.
You're the second person with recent times I've heard make a negative comment about farm-fed fish. What's the problem?
Well, there's a lot of fish in those long troughs. They're not being fed properly. They don't have access to all the natural foods that they would eat if they were out in the wild. Plus, if one of them is sick with any kind of fungus, they all get it, and it's not always detected. There's a number of reasons why farm-fed isn't the best choice, that wild would be better. All right. Anything else? Question?
You have iodine on your sheet. What were the sources of iodine?
Kelp.
Yeah.
Mhm.
How to use kelp? I mean, you know.
Kelp, yeah. How to use kelp as a source of iodine. Usually you'll get it in either drops or you'll get it in a capsule or tablet form. The nascent iodine is the strongest. I do not carry nascent iodine at my shop because it's expensive. One bottle is about $40 on the internet. Yeah, so I usually just tell people get it off the internet. Otherwise, I'm going to have to smack a really high price on that. Yeah, and eat foods like watercress, any kind of seaweed. So if you're eating some sushi or something, you'll get some. But you'd have to eat an awful lot of it. And in Japan, where they're surrounded by water, a lot of these islands, they're used to eating a lot of seafood and kelp anyway, so they're all right. Here in the Midwest, we don't have access to so much of that, so we want to supplement for the most part. Any ladies trying to get pregnant? If you're having trouble, it could be. There's a few young people in here. Not all of you are senior freshmen, all right? There's a few young folks. If any of you youngins are trying to get pregnant and having trouble, it could be that you're deficient in iodine. I had an older customer and a younger customer at the same time in the shop, and the younger one was saying, oh, I've had so much trouble getting pregnant. We're really trying and it's not happening. And this older lady said, I had that kind of trouble when I was younger. And a friend of mine said, well, take some iodine. And I did, and a month later I was pregnant. It works. It helps with hormones. I had one more hand. Yes?
How much magnesium do you need?
You know, that really depends on your diet and your activity level. When I was trained, we did not learn everybody has to have this amount, all right? Because our bodies are all different. If you get too much magnesium, you'll end up with diarrhea. Then you know you've got too much. What you may find out, however, is a little tiny bit. Say you take a teaspoon of the powdered kind, you mix it in some hot water, and that's fine initially, but because you're so deficient initially, you'll have to increase that a little bit more, and you'll figure it out on your own. But a person, say your size and age, might need one level, where some of these gentlemen will need more, or because of their diets, they'll need less. So you'll have to play around with it a little bit. And it also, magnesium is absolutely necessary for balancing calcium and absorbing it. If you are taking calcium supplements and not balancing it with magnesium, you're wasting your time on your calcium. All right? And I think that's all we have time for.